Welcome to Love in the Love Boat, where we break down episodes of one of the greatest romantic comedy drama television series of all time. I'm Istvan, Chicagoland's beloved children's musician and TV fanatic.
And I'm Michelle, pop culture enthusiast.
So come aboard, we're expecting you to join us for another edition of
Love in the Love Boat.
Hi, you guys. We're back. It's Istvan.
It's Michelle.
And yes, we're here with second to last show of season 1, episode 23.
That's insane to me because it's just a lot of episodes, but it's gone by so fast.
It has. Well, that's the thing. The Love Boat, it's a feel-good for the most part, and before you know it, the hour has flown by, and I think that's kind of the intention, so hopefully the podcast has served the same purpose for everybody.
Props to sitcoms of the 70s and 80s going the distance. 25 episodes.
Yeah, that's
most things now are 8 to 13.
Is this your rant? Are you going to
Unless
yell?
You're watching El Rey, which I'm currently watching, which is 36.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right, let's just kick it, you guys. Let's get into episode 23. Before I do, Michelle, your impressions of this episode, good, bad, indifferent?
Had some good, fun moments, then it had some really dark moments.
Guys, I agree with her. For me, this was a very disjointed episode, kind of an odd episode, and kind of a gloomy, dark episode in a lot of ways. And I was not really feeling it, but there is one huge saving grace on this episode, Michelle, which is what?
I can't say it.
Say it, because I don't know how to say it either. Captain
Breaks
Steubing,
my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been rooting for him for all of season 1 to finally hook up with someone, and it happens. And, when you see his gorgeous legs on display during
Honestly, he, in his jogging shorts, he has a really nice set of legs.
How could anyone resist that man? All right, so we'll get into that in due time, all right? So first, let's do like we always do. Let's hit the stories on episode 23. We have This Business of Love by Howard Albrecht and Saul Weinstein. We have Crash Diet Crush by Ray Jessel. And finally, we have I'll Never Fall in Love Again, written by Ann Gibbs and Joel Kimmel. Now, Michelle, this one has a ton of people on it, right?
It really does. It's quite a cast. Some I'm familiar with, some I am not familiar with.
Do you need help? You want me to help you out?
I can go down my list and you can jump in if I miss somebody.
Okay.
I have Jayne Meadows.
Yes, Jayne Meadows Allen.
Oh, yes, sister of Audrey Meadows. So, yeah, if you could jump in with the names, the character names, I do not have that written down.
Myrna Foster.
I have Morey Amsterdam, the great Morey Amsterdam.
Yes, and he is playing an ice magnet. They sell ice somehow.
It's like a sausage king, an ice magnet. There's
it really is.
Somebody with some weird random
He is the proprietor of this business, Mo Price.
with his wonderful, beautiful wife, played by the magnificent Rosemary.
She's rocking that black bow in her hair. We love Rosemary.
I wish I had a statement like that through my whole life.
It's never too late.
She literally had it from the beginning to the end.
She's playing Dottie Price, and that's the other thing. We love her. We love him. We love the old Dick Van Dyke Show. Is still one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. If you guys, I think we've mentioned it before, if you have access to it, which I think it is on, Netflix or something, it's awesome. So,
and not to mention she's in really a touching episode of The Monkees.
Yes, she's the monkey mom. Oh my God. Yeah, we love Rosemary. Who else?
I have somebody, Michael Callen.
Yeah, he's playing a glum gentleman. And yes, his counterpart on this is Annette Funicello, the dream of many men, young guys, boys from that era, who is playing Roberta Roberts on this episode.
Wow.
Yes. Okay.
And I have Christopher George.
He's playing a really, really great. I like this character a lot. He was so nice on this show. His name was Bill Wainwright. He's super great on this.
Was he with Caren Kaye?
Guys, Caren Kaye, for my generation, for those who liked Annette Funicello, she's playing Jill Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I know her always and forever. Guys out there of my age group from the movie My Tutor. Oh my God. She was so... Do you recall that movie, Michelle?
I remember it, but I don't remember it.
It is just one of those movies, like the movie Class, for some reason, and it was everywhere. It was like the dream when you were growing up of an older woman, You know what I mean? That was like the
Like The
fantasy.
Graduate.
Yes. So it's just like she was in the movie My Tutor, and she was so pretty. And like she was like an obsession for a lot of people. And she plays Jill Williams.
And then the final person that I have is Jessica Walter.
No, she's fantastic.
I mean, yeah, because prior to this, have you ever seen the movie Play Misty for Me?
Yes, she's amazing in that movie with what's his name? Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
And she also plays the mom character on Arrested Development. She's amazing on
Her
that.
and Liza Minnelli interactions were always my favorite. Or
It's
with
incredible.
her sons.
She was just like a total standout on a show full of standouts. So she
Yeah.
is playing a character called Jocelyn Hyatt Matthews on this, and an old high school.
Crush of Captain Steubing.
Yes. Well, should we just go right to that? Let's go to where the captain is hanging out with Dr. Bricker.
Sure.
And Dr. Bricker, of course, his lady radar is always at 10. He sees her immediately because she is very, very beautiful. And then all of the sudden, Captain Steubing realizes who it is.
Jocelyn? Jocelyn Hyatt? Merrill Steubing.
Merrill Steubing!
Well, it's Captain Merrill Steubing. And I'd like to have you meet our ship's doctor, Adam Bricker, Jocelyn Hyatt.
How to do?
How are you? Well, it was Hyatt, but now it's Matthews.
Right. So, how is Mighty Mike Matthews?
Better ask the new Mrs. Mighty Mike Matthews.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
So their introduction, you're excited because it's an old high school flame or fling or crush. But then it kind of goes into some weird fat shaming of the captain.
Yeah, it's really kind of, this is the thing about her. I really am confused by her character throughout this episode. Seriously, with the things that she says and the way that she acts. But maybe that's what they're establishing, that she just is kind of...
Merrill, you've changed.
It's probably the uniform. I mean, in these clothes, would you believe I'm a doctor?
Well, you're certainly not a fashion designer. No, it's not the uniform, Merrill. It's, whatever happened to String Bean Steubing, the pride of the track team?
Well, a man broadens a little as he reaches his prime.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think you look great. You should see some of the other guys from the old days. Last year I bumped into Randy DeNova.
Shoulders, DeNova, with the blonde, wavy hair?
Stoop shoulders DeNova, and bald as a billiard ball.
Excuse me, I've got some ship's business to attend to.
And I ought to get checked in.
Yeah, and as always, we're meeting people as they are arriving, setting foot on the ship. And speaking of Lady Radar, Gopher's never far behind. I think he's always kind of somewhat competing with Doc to see how many women they can sort of charm. And he sees Annette Funicello, and I cannot blame him because she looks lovely as can be.
She does.
Yeah, and he descends upon her and starts flirting with her, but she is having none of it. Why, Michelle?
Well, she lost somebody special in her life.
Yeah, she is very, very
Was
sad.
it her fiance? Were they at least engaged?
Michelle, it's the reason why I promised you many, many years ago that I would never become a fighter pilot because it's a very dangerous profession.
Thank goodness.
And she lost her fiance, Bob, to some sort of...
Accident.
Yeah.
Plane accident.
Don't tell me. You're Mrs. Warren F. Schnabel from Aurora, South Dakota.
What? No.
No. One more chance. Obviously. Rabbi Max Cantor, Cooksville, Oklahoma.
Roberta Roberts.
Geez, that's funny. You don't look it. I'm Yeoman Purser Burl Smith at your service. And if you're traveling alone, how about dinner tonight?
Thank you, but sometime later.
Okay. I want you to know, though, that you're turning down a big shot. Not that many girls get to dine with practically an admiral. Well, practically a lieutenant.
Excuse me.
But thankfully, after that solemn exchange, Morey Amsterdam and Rosemary come on as the ice couple.
Nice, huh? Hey, Mo. What? Do boats like this ever sink? Only once, baby. Only once.
Another kind of dark-ish scenario is the woman that you like from My Tutor, Jill Williams.
Yes.
She gets dropped off by a friend
Yes.
And then they established that she's a former escort, to put it nicely.
Yeah, she is, sex worker looking to get out.
Dolly, you're an absolute sweetheart. Thanks again for the oranges. You sure I can't talk you out of this trip, Jill? You can keep the oranges. No way. Too bad my rich Texan's in town with his friend from Iran. Some oil sheik, and he is loaded. Dolly, I'm through with that life. Listen, the only one that ever quit was Xavier Hollander. She wrote a book about it and made a fortune. And that's why she's the happy hooker. But I'm not happy at it. Besides, I saved some money, and I've got a good straight job waiting for me. I'll do okay. What a waste. You could make a fortune working this ship.
Yeah, so again, it's just really a lot of sort of like dark subject matter, really, and a lot of backstories for a lot of these people on the cruise. And to me, it's like even the lighthearted stuff couldn't really fight with that well enough. So it just was kind of a strange feeling episode to me. And after this woman puts her basket of oranges in her cabin, makes her way to the pool to get a drink, and right away, the love interest for her, Mr. Bill Wainwright, super, super nice guy.
Totally nice guy.
Yeah, keeps bumping into her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, not again.
I bet you didn't recognize me without my oranges.
There was 600 people. Where do you think I'd start picking on someone else?
Well, nice bumping into you.
You too.
Are you sitting with anybody?
You want to join me?
Yeah, if I spilled, you could send me to my room.
So this guy, Michelle, to me, honestly, of all of what we've seen, he really, a lot of the times the guys, I think, are the weakest link on the show, if there ever is. And he's like, honestly, he played this so well, in my opinion. And he comes across really, really as a genuinely nice guy, and that he's found someone that he likes. And it's just really kind of sweet throughout the whole thing. I really enjoyed his performance.
I did too, but it wouldn't be a dark episode of The Love Boat if they didn't throw a wrench into the whole thing.
What are you talking about?
Well, what are the chances that one of her former clients is on the ship? Audrey Meadows' husband.
Why am I forgetting?
Or not Audrey Meadows. Jayne Meadows' husband.
You mean Ray Foster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow he's one of her former clients. And of course he's on the ship. And then he thinks he's going to get some from her because she's on the boat.
This is the thing. Ray Foster is so like loathsome.
And he's like
front
80, but he's probably 50 on the
But
show.
did you see how his hair didn't go gray?
Yeah.
I couldn't stop looking at his hair. It looked like steel wool or something on his head. It was so strange. Every man's hair was so bizarre on this episode.
It always is almost on the Love Boat.
I can't stop looking at it. It was just
Gavin
totally
McLeod's
insane.
lucky to not have hair on the Love
Yeah,
Boat.
he looked great. But so he sees her and he's like, this cruise is going to be all right after all. And that's just completely gross. And his wife is an attractive woman.
Very.
Yeah, super attractive. And
even with her cold cream and rollers and
her flannel pajamas.
Yeah.
I can relate
That's
to that.
what I would put on a cruise ship. Flannel.
She did.
Tropical
Did she
cruise
get
ship.
into hers right away? She jumped into her PJs
No,
pretty
she
fast.
did, because then he was going to go look for Jill.
He wasn't worried in the least. But you know who was worried? Captain Merrill Stubing.
Definitely.
Worried about his waistline. Because, yes, he had been kind of shamed up front by this beautiful woman. And he wants to get in shape for her. So we're sent to his cabin, and we see him. Do we see his legs then?
I can't remember. Is that where
I think we
Isaac
do.
brings him donuts?
That's not yet. No, not yet. Not yet. He's in the cabin. He's running in place, trying to frantically lose weight. You do see his very powerful legs. And then he steps on the scale and he's mortified. And then he had called on Doc for a little consultation.
Oh, Doc. Thanks for coming.
Are you all right, sir? You seem a tad overheated.
Yeah, well, I just took a hot tub. Take my mind off things.
If you made things like Jocelyn, I'd suggest a cold shower.
She's stunning, isn't she?
Oh, irresistible.
She's mine.
Well, what do you want to see me about?
It's my body. I've got to do something about it.
Well, sir, speaking as a medical man, we'd appreciate it if you didn't leave it to science.
Now, look, Doc. If I'm going to stand a chance for Jocelyn, I've got to get back into shape. And fast. Now, what should I do?
Fast?
Yes, really fast.
That's what I said. Fast.
Huh?
Fast.
Oh, a fast is fast. That's it. I won't eat anything for the rest of this cruise. Not a bite.
Captain, as your physician, I can hardly recommend that. It's not the healthiest way to lose weight.
Then I'll hold you responsible. If I get sick, you're in trouble.
So he decides the quickest and best way for him to lose weight in a 5-day cruise or 7-day cruise is to just not eat
At all.
ever.
I guess that would work, kind of. But you're not going to, you're not going to be at your best, I don't think.
No, and then there's that weird scene where they're in his cabin and Isaac brings him his daily donuts.
Yeah, he has jelly donuts, are his favorites. And then he does not eat those.
No, and then it was making me think and this is a terrible name, but remember in the 70s there was that appetite suppressant?
AIDS?
Yeah. It's I was thinking, why did the captain just give him that? I'm sure it was on the ship.
Do you know that my mom had those in our...
Did she?
Yeah. And it was called AIDS, and it was
it's an unfortunate name later on, but...
In our house, in our...
They look like little chocolate nuggets, right?
We wanted to eat those all the time, and we were told not to eat the AIDS. And then also, we had in our home, in our total 1970s home, guess what the one time we'd have a carbonated beverage, what would it be?
Tab.
Yes.
Because that's the only one we had in my house.
Tab. And you hated it. It was
Oh,
terrible.
it tastes terrible.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why my mom had it, because then she knew probably that me and my sister wouldn't drink it.
It worked for us, and we would eat
for us.
anything. We were like mice, and we would devour anything that came into our home. And yeah, we definitely did not touch the AIDS or the tab. Yeah, I guess Dr. Bricker didn't think of that for Captain
Might have worked out a
Stubing.
little bit better, because he could have eaten a little bit and then worked it out.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about Annette Funicello a little bit.
Please.
Lucky for her, there's another sad sack on this ship with a tragic story.
The 2 wet blankets, you mean?
Yeah. Morey Amsterdam and Rosemary tried to get them together because they're all sitting at the same tables for dinner, but they aren't having it.
Yeah, these two are so glum. It's it's the weirdest thing, too, because it's confusing as far as how they interact with one another, how they kind of develop this sort of relationship. Because I don't know.
I don't know. I guess they're just not ready yet. It's all so fresh.
Yeah,
The
no,
death
for
of
sure.
their spouses or partners.
Yeah, and so it's once, I've let the cat out of the bag a little bit about Bob, the heroic fighter pilot, but Annette really just kind of lays it out for him all at once.
I want to apologize for not being the most exciting girl on board.
Oh, you don't have to apologize.
Some friends of mine gave me this trip as a present. I didn't want to come. I've had a pretty awful year.
Well, it seems to be an epidemic of that lately.
They thought it would be great for me to get away and have fun. So, here I am, having fun.
Yeah, well, it's not easy having fun, is it?
No, not lately.
I've never traveled alone. I've been married for as long as I can remember.
Wife problems?
No, not that way. She died.
I'm sorry.
Well, they say life goes on.
Yeah, that's what they say. Sometimes I wish it didn't.
Oh, come on. One wet blanket on board's enough.
No, you don't understand. I also lost somebody. Lost? What a silly word. It makes it sound like you could find him again. It took me all my life to find Bob. I can hardly say that name without...
I know.
And then the government of the United States regrets to inform you he was a lieutenant in the Air Force on a training flight.
I'm sorry.
So am I.
But one redeeming thing, one bright light in all this is Annette Funicello's dresses.
Yeah, she looks awesome.
It's again like whoever does the costumes. I know our friend Angela had mentioned it earlier to us in an episode. I have to go back and look. But Julie and her, it's these floral gowns, and I'm super into floral. And they're always beautiful and they're always amazing, and they need to bring all that back.
But they really stand out on her. I mean, for some reason, she just looks like extra. She looks like perfect, in my opinion.
But she was always perfect. She was perfect when she was on the Mickey Mouse Club. She was perfect when she was in those beach movies. I mean, she was just like the perfect
Yeah, she's flawless on this. And like her jewelry is really like, I don't notice those things normally, but on this I do. Like it really stands out to me because it's just so well chosen. And there's some questionable acting when they're on the bow, like kind of sharing this with each other. And it doesn't matter because she just looks so good. Well, we'll post probably a picture or two on Instagram
and
for
she had
sure.
beautiful jewelry.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. The jewelry is something that really stood out to me. I said
Sorry,
jewelry.
okay, Alzheimer's kicked in.
I was a bit frustrated by these two because, again, guys, I'm simple-minded and I come to the Love Boat for fun. I come for laughter, come for lighthearted tomfoolery. And when I'm being provided some level of soap opera-ness, I also have preferences. And the other two, Jill Williams and Bill Wainwright, they delivered for me because their relationship is just developing really nicely. It's just like two people. It's not some sleazy thing on the ship. It just really is nice. And knowing what her past is, it couldn't be a better thing for her and not something that she was really coming onto the ship for.
No, and then I think she even tried to explain to him and he didn't want to know.
Well, he did, at first it was just normal stuff. Like it just wasn't presenting itself. Not yet, I think.
Like when they were playing backgammon?
Yeah, and she's taking things the wrong way and realizing, oh, he doesn't mean any of that stuff. But as they're hanging out with each other, dancing, just having meals together, they kind of wrap up like their first real night where everybody's dressed really nicely, very formally. Really made the ship, honestly, like a cruise seem kind of nice where everybody's like dressed up and just having like a lot of fun. And he says one of the nicest lines on the Love Boat, I thought.
Here we are. Good night, Bill.
Good night. I wish we could have a lifetime of today's.
No one's ever said anything nicer to me than that. Good night.
So their relationship is just incredibly sweet.
And he's not pressuring her. He's taking it slow. It's like obviously the opposite of what she's used to in her former career.
Yes, and it was really, really nice. But we can't let that happen for too long, can we?
Oh, no.
Not with Ray Foster creeping around the ship.
So he's a creepy old man.
He gets his shoe polish out of his case. He puts it on his hair to look as youthful as he possibly can. He's completely proud of his weird-shaped body with his shirt completely, opened up.
Like, what is he thinking? He obviously had to pay her to be the escort. So, like, he's thinking, like, oh, she's just going to hook up with me on this ship.
I don't know. But he's in the room and he's hot to trot, really. And so then he gets annoyed with his wife, Myrna, because she, as Michelle said, was already putting on the old cold cream.
The curlers and then flannel nightgown.
Let me let Ray do the talking. Hang on.
Big deal, so I'm wearing a flannel nightgown. I wear it because I get cold.
Yeah, and because you wear it, I get cold.
Well, for your information, you know who else wears a flannel nightgown?
No, who?
Raquel Welch.
Right. I always get you two mixed up.
Where are you going?
I'm going to get a drink.
The bars are closed by now.
Swell. I'll be first in line for tomorrow.
Now, Michelle, we were just talking off mic about the accent of Jayne Meadows Allen, and I've been hearing a lot about this recently. And I think a lot of people are fascinated with that. And I think it's called a mid-Atlantic, or at least that's what people have coined it.
Well, doesn't Gavin MacLeod kind of have the same thing?
You've said that. I don't notice that as much. I feel like
do.
his is more...
I believe they both have a similar...
Hers is way more obviously that, though.
I think Gavin's is too.
I don't know. I don't know. You could be right. I'm not disputing that at all. I don't know. But his, to me, if I had a whatever, I would think it's more of a regional, some sort of dialect. But like hers is that like aristocratic kind of wanting to be English, but not English. And I think they call it mid-Atlantic. And she's rocking that affectation like crazy. And so, yeah, he heads out. He's so sick of her being in that flannel pajamas. And he heads... How does he know where her room is?
That I don't know.
Maybe he just went and asked and they'll just give away a person's...
They do that quite regularly on the Love Boat.
Yeah, so he heads to Jill's room to sort of like,
Oh, hi there.
Ray, what are you doing here?
I'm here with my wife.
Oh, that's nice.
Gee, this couldn't have worked out better if I planned it. How about you? Business trip or pleasure? Although your business is my pleasure.
Would you mind leaving, Ray?
Come on, we're old friends.
I've given up the business.
Oh, yeah? How about that guy I saw you all afternoon with? What is he, some long-lost cousin?
He's just a nice guy.
Oh, well, I'm a nice guy, too. Only I'm a nice guy with a $100 bill.
Goodbye, Ray.
Oh, come on, kid. You play your cards right, you'll have enough money to pay off this trip for the whole cruise.
The answer is no. Now just get out!
You wouldn't want that nice guy to find out what you do for a living, would you?
I told you, I am through with that now. Just get out!
Are you kidding? You'll never change.
The creepiness is going on. There's this whole like funny scene of Captain Stubing jogging.
Yeah, because she was saying like she jogs every day. And then I don't know if he was lying or not, or he did just casually jog. But he's like, I jog too. And then for some reason.
I think he was just saying it. Because it was very popular back then. My parents jogged.
Jogging?
They did.
Yeah, it was for sure. And so like he's like, oh, I'll jog too. And she's like, well, I only jog 3 miles a day. And she's like, you can go on after I stop, assuming he did more. His eyes kind of bug out of his head.
But of course, we find out she's at some point jogging by herself because he's like passed out on a lounge chair somewhere, covered up on a blanket.
Right.
And they think he's a drunk.
But then he catches up to them, and then they're talking about food.
Oh, yeah.
And he's starving, you guys. And so she's saying what they're going to eat, and he is trying to stay strong.
Hey, I'm sorry about this morning. I had to rush up to the bridge. It was urgent.
I'll forgive you this time, Meryl. Come join us. We're off to breakfast.
Breakfast?
You bet. You could just taste a cheese omelet, blueberry muffins, hash brown potatoes, maybe some orange marmalade.
What are you going to have?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, just a small stack of wheat cakes and maybe a little butter. No, just a cup of black coffee.
Meryl?
Oh, nothing. No, you run along without me. I'd better prepare for this afternoon's crew meeting. See you later.
If I can find you.
Captain's just not eating, so he's getting basically what we call hangry these days, and the crew cannot take it anymore.
I'm not familiar with the whole hangry.
Oh, no, I don't have to deal with that ever. Sorry, that's fine.
When my blood sugar crashes, and I take it out on the crew just like the captain does.
Slipshod and lackadaisical. You're all goofing off.
Now, sir.
You too, Dr. Bricker. Now, how many passengers have you treated on this cruise?
None, sir. I'm happy to report no one's been sick.
That's why you're happy. It means less work. And you, Mr. Washington? Sir? Do you know how many maraschino cherries you use each cruise?
Maraschino cherries?
Yes.
Sir? Can I change my category to pop music?
I don't understand why you're so upset. We've all been working very hard.
You have? Have you really? Miss McCoy, you are in charge of games and activities. Yet this morning I saw a dozen passengers sleeping on lounge chairs. No, don't you wake them up and ask them if they want to play a game.
Wake them up and ask them if they want. You should have done that.
Now, you had all better get on the ball. For the only way you'll get back on this ship is to buy a ticket.
And much like in my house, like on April Fool's Day when my daughter completely fooled me by putting a little piece of Scotch tape over the mouse on the computer and I completely freaked out. And then I realized that I had little Kaiser Sose in my home who was so smart that she fooled me with a simple gesture like that. The crew starts to plot and scheme to get even with the captain.
No, just to get him to be less obsessive and just to get him to eat. They're trying to get him to eat so he's not so hangry.
Well, he's flipped out.
I've never seen him like that.
It's just that he hasn't eaten in over 24 hours. He thinks that if he loses a couple of inches, he'll be able to win back his old high school flame.
Well, before he loses 1 inch, we could lose 4 jobs.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we'll all die of old age while we wait for this idea.
We need tools. Needle, thread.
I get it. You're going to sew us a new captain, right?
Now, this is sort of devious. As a matter of fact, it's really kind of dirty. No, it's more downright deceitful.
So far, I love it.
Okay, here's what we do. Go into the captain's cabin. Somebody's got to get in there.
So a genius plan, and I'm not sure how they exactly executed it. And I guess Gopher has some tailoring skills. They let his pants out so that they're looser. Therefore, he thinks he lost some weight already, and he will start eating again.
Yeah, they also altered or doctored the scale so it
Oh,
looked
that's
like
right.
he was 15 pounds lighter than he actually was.
Poor Captain, so naive.
Yeah, and then so he goes, and I think he chowed down like a buffet.
He did. But then he was happy again.
Yes.
But him being happy also led to a little more seriousness between him and Jessica Walter.
Yes, it really did kind of save the day for him. And things start to get very, very serious between the two of them. Guys, a little tip. If you're out there, you've been together for many, many years with your wife, you see some sort of concubine that you've frequented on the cruise that you're on, watch yourself, because that might be the breaking point for your wife. Because what happens, Michelle?
Myrna decides she's going to get her own cabin, pack her bags, and
leave him. Divorce him.
How come sometimes the ship has extra rooms and sometimes the ship doesn't?
I think this is the one time maybe that, I don't know.
Because it's such a sad cruise. Nobody goes. They had a lot of extra rooms.
This is the gloomy cruise. Some people jumped overboard.
People left at Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, they couldn't take it. They went home crying. I think that's a good call. Yeah, so she's out the door, and then, Ray, he's like, fine, don't you come back.
Always.
Yeah. And then she says to him what he said to the other woman, "He'll never change." Like, do it in your mid-Atlantic.
I don't have a mid-Atlantic.
You do. Do Captain Stubing.
You'll never change.
That's it. And so she's out the door, and they have now split with one another.
Myrna, you got to put on your flannel bathing suit. Boy, that pool is sensational. Hey, Myrna, what are you doing?
Purser found a vacant cabin. I'm moving.
What's wrong with this cabin?
You're in it.
Oh, come on, seriously.
Seriously?
Oh, Myrna, don't be silly.
No, Ray. No. I'm sick of the bickering, the arguing, the fighting. 2 minutes after we're in a room, you can suffocate from the hostility.
Oh, we haven't died from it.
No. We're not really living either.
Well, look, what's this all about?
I don't believe you. Our marriage is nothing but a vacuum. You don't need me. Except maybe for someone to put down. You take me for granted. Good old Myrna's always there to cook or clean or warm your bed on a cold winter's night.
Come on, Myrna, let's go have a drink, huh? You're not yourself.
This is myself.
No, you're not acting like my Myrna.
Because I'm not your Myrna. I'm my Myrna. And until you realize that, our marriage isn't worth spit.
Well, what do you want, Myrna? What do you want?
A divorce, Ray.
A divorce?
Yes. That's what I want.
A divorce? You must be crazy.
Oh, no. No, I'm not.
Okay, all right. But don't come crawling back to me, because I won't take you.
You'll never change.
But this is the thing about this episode. When I said it was disjointed, this guy has really played like kind of a real heel, a real heavy and a jerk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after all of this craziness has happened, he heads down to the bar, as you do, when you've just been threatened with divorce. And the other two are having a lovely time together, and they waltz right past him at the same area. And then he strolls up, and she's worried because he has threatened, right, to out her to this guy. And she's assuming that that's what he's about to do. But he doesn't.
Nope.
What'd he do?
They have a little conversation.
And he actually kind of turns human.
It does.
He actually turns really kind of like cool about the whole thing, the way that he handled it. That guy did a good job. He was a good TV actor, I thought.
Is that where he says Myrna's his whole life? Yeah. Except for the time he had the escorts.
That's what's so...
I was like, that's so weird. Why would you say that? She isn't your whole life because you're frequenting escorts.
And then after that, she basically his former escort high fives him, you go get him, champ. They're completely reconciled with one another after he'd said that horrible stuff to her.
I know.
And then he heads off to the dance floor and cuts in.
It's funny. I'm nervous dancing with my own wife.
Ray?
When we get back home, I could take an extra day off and I can clean out that downstairs closet, the one I've always been promising to.
Ray?
Oh, we could paste those snapshots in the album, the ones I never got around to.
Oh, Ray.
Oh, look, Myrna, I know you want out, Myrna. Look, I've made a lot of mistakes, but if I lose you, it'll be the biggest mistake of my life.
Oh, Ray, I love you.
And it doesn't take much to win Myrna back.
No.
It only took him kind of saying he was going to clean out the closet in the basement.
That's so simple for us, right?
I know, it's flipped though. It's the opposite. Michelle had to do that with me. I promise I'm going to clean out that closet. I love you, baby. So it's just like completely strange, but I guess nice that they reconcile, because quite honestly, you have the sophisticated television plot mind and I do not. If things become too complicated on shows, I bail, because I can't expend that much energy on a television show most of the time, unless it was Breaking Bad. I enjoyed Breaking Bad. But on this show, the Love Boat has just the right amount for me to where I will try and decipher something, figure something out. And I could not in the beginning figure out how they were going to resolve this between these two. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he was such an awful guy, and the things that he was doing and the way that he was like lasciviously looking at this woman. I'm like, how on earth is he going to get back together with Myrna, knowing full well that we have to bring everybody together by the end of this? And I couldn't figure it out. And I guess they kind of did a decent job at it.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Still weird, though.
Right.
Michelle, where do we go on the Gloom Cruise from here?
Well, we could pep it up with Captain.
Oh, we can pep it up indeed.
Give me a fee. Fee. Give me a foe. Whoa. Give me a fee. Foe. Fight. Cause that's our battle cry. The fee. Foe. Fighting team of fielding high. Yay!
Yeah, so they're doing like the old Brady Bunch, like Fillmore Junior High cheer with one another.
They're getting nostalgic.
Yes, but then it leads to passion.
Jocelyn, I loved you when we were kids. Now I still love you.
Well, you had a boyhood crush on me. It's the sweetest thing in the world, but today it's still just a crush.
How can you be so sure?
Because back when we were in high school, I had a crush on you.
You did?
You were so shy, I just thought you weren't interested in me. Funny. I've still got that crush, too.
Oh. Well, we're not kids anymore. Maybe that crush can turn into reality.
No, it isn't reality. It's a fantasy. A novel. The captain and the cheerleader.
Does it have a happy ending?
I think so. Even if we can't share our realities forever, we could still share our fantasy tonight.
Yeah, after 20-something episodes. Failed marriages and loves.
And so close with Michelle Lee.
And John Ritter.
Oh, my God. Oh, guys, we've been so far together, haven't we? Oh, we're so glad we've all been together for this. Yes, John Ritter. What are you looking at, honey?
Captain finally
seals the deal, you guys. With his old high school whatever, it finally happens. But I will tell you, Michelle, and maybe you understand, I couldn't understand anything this woman was saying.
She was kind of putting him down, and then she would kind of not put him down, or maybe that's just the way she was talking, and then he was misconstruing what she was saying. It was very confusing.
No, see, the thing is, I was getting true anxiety from this because everything she was saying was like, no, this can't be a romance. This isn't love. This isn't anything. And I'm like, oh, no. And then she was just basically saying, but it could be a thing tonight.
Well, it's just like like a one-night stand or a ship's romance.
But maybe trying to class it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever.
It's like he had wanted this probably back in high school.
Yeah.
To hook up with her, and it never happened, and
she said the same thing, that she had a crush on him, but he was very shy when he was in high school.
So they had their one, night together.
Yeah. So congratulations, Captain Steubing. We're so happy for you.
Hopefully there's some more down the road
in
the next 20,000 episodes.
We're throwing confetti on Annette Funicello's glum head, and we're just celebrating the fact that Captain Steubing did it.
Oh, it's upsetting a little bit, though.
For you it is, because you're jealous.
I am jealous.
You're mad. That's okay.
I know.
That's all right. So that's the best part of this episode, you guys,
Sure.
is that took place, and
but
they did it.
Even the Annette Funicello, the two with their spouses gone couple, they whatever, they decide they are not going to take it further.
That one didn't make any sense to me either,
but
man.
Then when everybody's leaving the ship, they were looking for each other.
Yeah, they do some sort of like French cinema thing at no, this is what didn't make sense either. So they're glum for the whole thing, and then just like, okay, good night. Here's your Agatha Christie book or whatever. And then at the very end, everybody leaves and they have to do their goodbyes on the ship. She's like elated.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the most terrific vacation I've ever had.
Oh, gee, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
You haven't seen Mr. Jordan, have you?
No. Sorry. Have you tried his cabin?
I called, but there was no answer.
Well, maybe he's still at breakfast.
I just came from there. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not important. Thanks again.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And then she was just like, yeah, like it was like the greatest trip of her life, but it didn't really seem like it. It just was such a, like, did she take a drug of some kind?
Well, maybe she just needed to get it out. Like talk about it to somebody, and then maybe she found somebody who was in a similar situation as her, and they kind of found each other, but they were resistant to it. But maybe like overnight, when they knew that they weren't going to see each other again, they were like, well, maybe we do want to see each other again.
It's weird because then at the end they're like, is so-and-so still here? No, I didn't see them at breakfast. And then like she's gone, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe they were just still trying to be like guard themselves from emotions. Maybe that's what it was. And then as they get off the ship again, I love when they do any filming that's like off of the ship. They do like a French cinema thing where it's like
grabbing a cab at the same time,
looking around, not seeing each other, then a bunch of bags block their view of one another, like this accidental happenstance.
It's very anxiety inducing.
And then they both reach for the same cab door.
Hello.
Hello.
Would you like to share?
I'd like that very much. Very much.
Who else wraps up?
Jill and her fella. Does he propose to her?
Oh, you know what happens?
I can't remember how it ended.
Bill, listen to me. I want to tell you something about myself. About my past.
I'm not interested in anything that happened before this cruise. All I'm interested in is us. And the time I spent. It's the most romantic place to tell you about it. I love you.
Oh, you just made it the most romantic place.
Yeah, so she was ready to tell him. She wanted to
Come
with
clean.
a clean slate. Right, exactly. And it was nice the way that he did that too, because maybe he even had like sort of like a inkling of what it was, and he just didn't care. He just liked her. And that's why Bill was one of the best characters.
Well, and I think that's the point, is like she had this past maybe she wasn't so proud of, or maybe other people wouldn't be proud of, or somebody else that she met, and he didn't want to hear it.
Right.
He liked her for who she was.
Right.
He liked her now. He wasn't concerned about her past.
Right.
And he wanted to have a future with her.
Yeah, and that's why that one was awesome. That one was really, really cool. And they didn't even belabor that one. That was just one of the nicest, I thought, like romances and couplings that the show has done, honestly. I thought it was really good.
Another groovy safari suit.
Yeah, man. He had that crazy powder blue, whatever that was on. Yeah, again, I will not be rocking that one either. That would
Someday
just,
you will.
Oh, okay. You know what?
I
never
find
question
it, you will wear it.
You're usually correct. I'm not going to dispute that.
I will find it someday.
Yeah, so that really is it. That then it wraps this episode up. We need to find out what Planter's Punch is, too, because that's what Annette Funicello wanted to drink, and so did that other dude.
Was it a Planter's Punch?
That's what they were asking for.
Chef Shangri-La, it's a local tiki Chinese restaurant by here. They have the Planter's Punch.
Oh, well, then that's one of the things that they were asking for, and Isaac was kind of like, nobody ever asked for that drink, and he had to figure it out. Let me also do like a little correction, you guys. A couple episodes ago, if you've been listening to every single episode, my apologies for constantly talking about Bert Convy and him being married to that one person, because he absolutely was not. It was a different guy, and I don't know why I was mistaking it. I did say I wasn't sure, but boy, I was really hoping that those two were a couple, and they never were.
Because you just love Bert Convy.
I like Bert Convy. I always did like Bert Convy. He was a pleasant guy.
He was likable.
Yeah, a super likable guy.
Great game show host.
Now, you guys, we are now, with the closing of episode 23, one episode away from the end of season 1. And we want to thank everybody for being with us, for joining us.
Yeah, for listening. Our friends that have joined us along the way and guest starred with us.
And we definitely want to thank the people who have donated to our GoFundMe to fund season 2. And we want to point anybody else in the direction of that. We are just shy of our goal. So if you are aware of it and you've been on the fence, like, should I, shouldn't I? Please go check it out. And it could be any amount at all, because it really is for us to make season 2 happen. And speaking of season 2, we'd like to share a little message from one of our future guests early in season 2.
Hi, this is Mariah Grandy. Be sure to look out for me in the all-new season 2 of Lovin' the Love Boat.
Yes, you guys, in season 2, there are going to be, hopefully, many, many guests. But as you just heard, and I will ask her, unless Michelle stops me, if in fact her mother is Marsha Wallace for when Gopher... Marsha Wallace hooked up. The daughter of Gopher himself, our new friend, is going to grace us on the show, and we just cannot even wait. So this is the reason we're trying to raise funds to make the show even better going forward and to have the time and resources to make all these things happen. So please, if you can, check out our GoFundMe, which will be inside of the description or can be found on our Instagram and our bio links. And anything at all is very, very much
appreciated.
And we'd like to give a shout out to Cool Carl, the lovely Stacy, Tyra,
Hank.
I think he was first.
He was number 1.
Yes. Annie.
Dina,
Jennifer. Who else am I missing?
Sherry.
Lori. Who else? Oh gosh, I don't want to. Yeah, Sherry was the first, even before the GoFundMe. If I am forgetting anybody, I am sorry, but we promise we will highlight every single person. We want to thank everyone who's done it. We are so close to our goal. So guys, please consider, if you've been on the fence, go do it. And let's make season 2 better than season 1. And again, we want to grow the show too. It's a big part of it, of just trying to let more people know about the show.
Take it a sneak peek. Season 2 is even crazier than season 1.
It is. It absolutely is. I cannot wait. Yeah, so until then, you guys, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for everything.
And we will see you on the next show, the final one of season 1. Until then, I am Istvan.
I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we are Lovin' the Love Boat.